No matter what you call them, the enemies of Rainbow Six Extraction are a deadly threat, and if you and your squad hope to survive, then you need to know what you're up against. In this episode of our Rainbow Six Extraction Deep Dive series, we're talking tactics. What attacks and abilities the different Archaeans will throw at you, and what strategies you and the crew can use to take them down. First things first, you gotta watch out for the ones that just run up to you and explode. What kind of game plan is that? A surprisingly effective one, as it turns out. The ones with the big red pustules on their back are breachers, and their passion in life is to explode you, your friends, and any reinforcements or barricades you may have put up. Overachievers. Their cousins with the green pustules are bloaters. They have a grosser name, and they release a poisonous gas that damages you and obstructs your vision and probably leaves you with lingering respiratory problems. You'll want to shoot both of these from a safe distance, and if they get too close, melee them so they fall over and die at a safe distance. Here's a tip: if you can take out a breacher without exploding their boom sack, then you've got a handy little trap just waiting to be shot when other enemies shamble on by. Breachers have a way of appearing at just the wrong time, so take Doc along on the squad for a quick health shot after any close encounters, and bring Smoke or Capitao to deploy toxic gas to stop these parkour-happy pests. Now, not every Archie is so eager to make your acquaintance. Take the Sower. This little creep hunkers down and scuttles around the joint on all fours, making it tough to spot. Its armored head foils head-on assault, and if you pursue it, you might just trigger one of these little mines it leaves behind, and this will happen. Keep an eye out for those mines, and respond in kind, with a claymore or arc mine to surprise the Sower as it skirts around your squad. Then there's the Lurker. Loves to be invisible, loves to make its friends invisible. This is creepy and should not be allowed, but here we are. The Lurker will come at you, and when it does, smack it with a melee attack to reveal its weak point and shoot it quickly. Otherwise, the armor goes back up, your bullets aren't really effective, and you'll have to call in Hibana with her armor-busting X-Kairos explosives to get the job done. With evasive enemies like these, it helps to have an intel operator along for the incursion, so bring IQ to help pin down your foe's location.
Take out my target.
Of course, there are some enemies who are less subtle than others. Meet the Smasher. The Smasher can't help it that they have big, stompy footsteps. It's not their fault that they're covered in formidable armor yet move with an alarming speed. The way I see it, you have two options. Option 1, overwhelming force. Sledge uses a charged-up hammer swing to stagger the beastie, and Tachanka unloads on it with his mounted LMG. Option 2, distract and flank. Smoke or stun grenades can keep the Smasher from charging, while someone scurries around the behemoth and delivers the fatal melee takedown. You know, it almost makes you feel bad for the big lunk, doesn't it? No, it doesn't. I mean, come on, look at the tactics these Archies are out here using. Have you seen the Rooter? This jerk scurries around on tippy toes trying to literally root you in place with this ranged rooting attack. I appreciate the commitment to the bit, but getting stuck in place in Extraction is bad news. You'll have a better chance of surviving sticky situations with armor plates from Rook propping you up. And if you've got Vigil in play, activate his cloaking ability to skirt around and uproot the Rooter. When in doubt, a quick paralysis grenade can freeze the Rooter before it strikes and give you the window you need to take it out. There's a big benefit to taking out Archaeans before they get going. Have you perhaps heard this sound before? This is the sound of an Archaean getting all worked up and hollering for its friends to come through. Not only will this ominous screeching bring other Archies a-running, but it will also awaken any nearby nests. Nests are these big blobby things, and normally they don't do much at all. But when they hear a howl, they start cooking, oozing out more of that operator-hindering, Archaean-accelerating sprawl that we all know and hate, and eventually birthing a full-grown enemy into the world to kill you. Pro tip: Meleeing a nest to take it down will remove any sprawl that's around it. Meleeing a nest to take it down after you've lured your teammate below it will remove their entire self-esteem. Aw, you know that stuff smells so bad. Now, a lot of the time, awakened nests will issue forth grunts, which you might think, hey, no big deal, easy headshot. But if a grunt lands 2 or 3 solid hits on you, you're downzo, bud. Don't sleep on grunts. And if the nests are popping out spikers, well then now you've got a whole lot of projectiles coming your way, possibly from behind destructible surfaces, which, I thought was our whole thing. Plus, while they're shooting you, spikers put their armored forearm up in front of their face to make headshots trickier to land. Give yourself some cover by throwing down a field wall to block projectiles, or have your pal Jaeger deploy one of his active defense turrets to intercept them. By now, you're starting to see how, with even a few different Archaeans in the mix, the potential for finding yourself in a bad situation multiplies. And this is amplified as the difficulty increases, which happens in a couple of ways. The second and third objective on any given incursion will increase in difficulty. Incursions in later regions will be more difficult than ones in earlier regions. And while any of these increases will mean better rewards for doing the deed, there's also a better chance you'll meet some of the nastiest Archaeans out there. Like the sludge. Oh, the horrible, insidious goo. Behold its slimy malignance as it multiplies and sprouts loathsome little legs. This abomination is actually not that dangerous at all. It's just super gross. Now, the Tormentor, there's a nasty piece of work. This enemy will bombard you with projectiles, liquefy itself into an inky, bubbling blob, quickly reposition, and then pop back up for more bombardment. It is perhaps the most evasive enemy in the game, so you'll need to focus on nailing it down first. Stop it from burrowing by carpeting the area with Gridlock's track stingers. Then, set up one of Ella's stunning Gersmot mines on your flank in case it gets past you, and put an end to the Tormentor's torment. And speaking of torment, can we just talk about blinding spores for a second? These festive little fellas will reach out and stick to you and eventually burst to do mild damage, which isn't that bad. But they also majorly obstruct your vision. And when they're piggybacking on every enemy because your incursion has the blinding spore carrier mutation active, it can be so bad. Get your buddies to melee or shoot them off of you. And if that's not an option, Nomad's air jabs can clear them as well. Do not let them linger, because you have bigger fish to fillet. Namely, the Apex. The enemy so inimical it spawns more enemies, in addition to zipping around the area and blasting you with massive blinding projectiles. When asked to pick a lane, the Apex simply said yes, and now it's out here creating a whole mess of problems on purpose, and it's not gonna stop. Use Lion's EE1D drone scan to make sure you don't lose sight of the Apex, and throw down some of Alibi's Prisma decoys to draw both projectiles and new enemy hordes away from your squad. Finally, have Finka activate her Adrenal Surge to clear any blinding effects and reduce the team's recoil so you can focus fire and remove the Apex threat. But it's not over yet. There's one more kind of Archaean that you can encounter, and to meet them, you'll have to get a gateway objective, and then locate the large orb, and then go into it? There you will find a Protean. A Protean is like if a malevolent yet unfathomable alien intelligence tried to create an extraction operator out of materials they had laying around their creepy alien workshop. And they succeeded, but in a bad way. For you, specifically. The enemies of Extraction are a varied and vicious bunch, and with their powers combined, you and your squad are in for a tough fight this January when Rainbow Six Extraction launches on PS4 and PS5, Xbox One and Xbox Series X and S, cloud gaming, and PC. Subscribe to this channel to catch the other videos in our deep dive series and get the latest updates at news.ubisoft.com.